SportsGrid college football today on a Saturday morning. No better place to be than right here on the SportsGrid network. Donnie Rightside along with Joe Lisi. We having fun, Joe? Like, I feel like the information is flowing. We got Rat Pack games. We got the coach on. We got some good stuff. We got man, that's fun shit. All right.
He missed it.
Hey, we ain't missing anything on this show, though. It's time to get down to the business, Joe, because when we talk SEC, some people don't like the SEC. Now, here, let me ask you this.
Who doesn't
why
like
do we
the
have an SEC bias the opposite way? Like, I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. They lost. But I appreciate good football. Remember the COVID season?
Yes.
SEC was like, we're playing football regardless of anybody else. I'm like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
That's the NFL of college football. But why do people like, thank goodness Alabama's not in the college football playoff? Why? Because you want Boise in?
Well, because of the dominance that they had in number one, 6 national championships with Nick Saban, modern day, best head coach ever, right? And now you see Big Ten back-to-back, Michigan and Ohio State, so that's the conference to beat. I think from top to bottom, I still think the SEC is a much better conference when you think about athleticism and you just think about the gauntlet of a season schedule-wise that some of these teams have to play. But it's no slight to the Big Ten. They step up, and in a college football playoff environment, they knocked around the SEC, especially last year with Ohio State and Tennessee. But you know, it just comes down to the simple fact of you want to see great football players. You want to see these rivalries. At least in the SEC, these rivalries still run deep as opposed to some of the other conferences with realignment.
No. Good point here, and the SEC certainly takes center stage today, Joe. 3:30 p.m. Eastern, going down to Sanford Stadium, Athens, Georgia. Between the hedges, it's Ole Miss and Georgia. This line, Joe, the look ahead again, was over double digits, 10.5 at some outlets. Now we're seeing these numbers. You see the graphic at 6.5. Most outlets sitting now between 7 and 7.5. A total, Joe, that opened up around 54.5. You see that graphic at 56.5. It's now on the move once again to 57.5. We're expecting points between the hedges. The question, though, is that Ole Miss offense going to be for real enough to help that total, Joe?
Well, you see, I think it's the offensive philosophy of Georgia that potentially slows down the total, right? Mm-hmm. So when you look at the total, it's like high. If Ole Miss is dictating the tempo, they're going to potentially win the game outright, cover the 6.5 that we see across multiple books. But we talk about the defense for Ole Miss giving up $157 on the ground to opposing offenses. That's what Georgia wants to do. They're averaging well over 4 yards per carry, 185 rushing yards per game. The last 2 victories by Georgia over Ole Miss, they've won by an average margin of victory of 31 points per game. 2 years ago, they won 52-17. So, again, I think Georgia will want to run the football. If Ole Miss can't stop the run, it's Georgia, and it's the under. But, again, we'll see how this game plays. Hey, styles make fights. I do like Nate Frazier. He's been in the doghouse with Kirby Smart with fumbles. Plus 105 anytime touchdown. Keep an eye out for Branch over potentially Kobe Young at the wideout position.
Yeah, we're going to get to some of those props in a second. But it's always interesting here because, you know, we love college football and love to watch it, but also we are handicappers here, Joe. Those 6.5s were out there. Now we're flipping on to 7.5s. Does that change maybe your eye point of maybe they can hang around? Because honestly, it really shouldn't interrupt your, let's just say, handicap of saying, oh, 6.5, love it. 7.5, don't love it, because that means you think it's going to be a 7-point game.
No. I mean, I mean, it just makes me like it more under the key number, meaning I like Georgia laying the 7.5. I think they could win it by double digits. But now that you're giving me 6.5s early, I did take Georgia under the key number just in case, right? You know, but at the end of the day, if I'm betting the 6.5 or 7.5, I'm expecting Georgia to win by 10+. That's just the way, you know, for me, gambling goes. I'm not betting the number per se. It's the football matchup and what team I believe has the better edge, especially at home. And again, if Georgia can run the football, going to be a very long day, I believe, for that Ole Miss defense.
Yep, you see my betting card there just popped up in this game. I do like Georgia, but again, bring up that key information, 6.5 to 7.5, maybe swaying some opinions out there. If you think that game ends on a touchdown, you cash at 6.5 and ends at 7.5. You better have taken the dog in that spot. But also, see that second bet down there, Joe?
Yeah.
Chambliss, 250.5 passing yards. I'm going under. I'm saying the Georgia defense steps up and is the difference in this game. I'm not saying he can't throw for that many, but just from what I see and what I think is going to happen for a road game, he's going to throw the football a lot. And if I do think Georgia wins, that actually should help him out technically. But also, Joe, the element of surprise usually comes in. If this game is close, the run and the passing opens up. If you know he's going to be throwing that football in the fourth quarter, what's George doing? Pinning their ears back and coming after him at this point. I'm going under on his passing problem.
And you could take a look at Jackson Dart last year, right? The games that they struggled were against Alabama, right? Alabama on the road in critical environments. he had one of his worst performances in the passing attack, right? Alabama took away the deep ball. Kirby Smart, a disciple of Nick Saban, what's he going to do? We talk about the weakness potentially of Georgia. They're allowing 62% completion percentage. We saw Ty Simpson start very fast in the first quarter in the passing attack against that secondary. You want to take away Trinidad Chambliss deep ball, force him into long third downs, force him to read coverage. And again, as good as Chambliss has been, his first real true road environment against a team that lost 33 straight a couple of weeks ago, got off the schneid against Kentucky. Now you get a top 10 opponent into your building. You want to show out. So Chambliss better bring his A game. If he steps up, that number that's on him for potentially the Heisman, he could be under a 10-1 shot.
Joe, wide receiver position here. And I don't know if you're getting value here, but you're getting some equal numbers. You have Lee for Mississippi, 45.5. Wright for Mississippi, 49.5. Alexander for Mississippi, 45.5. And then we flip it over to Georgia. Zachariah Branch, the transfer from USC here, he's 44.5. And Colby Young, 44.5. Joe, a lot of guys in the 40s. Is there value?
Again, I think there is, again, with the Georgia side, more so than with the Ole Miss side. Again, I would take a shot on Lee if you want the Ole Miss side. I think he could potentially step up. But for me, it's going to come down to the rushing attack for Georgia. That's why I'm on the props. But I like Branch. He's the home run hitter. Branch transferred in from USC. He's gotten more acclimated with the offense. Colby Young is a freshman. Again, he's the speedster. I think Ole Miss looks to take him away. Branch, they do a little bit more with in the slot. I think Branch could have a breakout performance, 60, 70 plus at plus money. I think could be great value today for the Bulldogs.
Let's take a look at the quarterback position here, but not from actually throwing the football. As you said, I like Chambliss under 250.5 yards. How about the quarterback position, Joe, from a rushing perspective? You take a look here and say, all right, Gunnar Stockton, 34.5. But then you take a look at Chambliss, 44.5. If I gave you each one of those quarterbacks, over or under, who would you back in that situation?
I probably would take Stockton because, again, when he runs, it's during critical situations to get first downs. He's not potentially running so much with RPO looks like Trinidad Chambliss and potentially with sack yards always into account, right? So we know that Georgia wants to be maybe a little bit more conservative, running the football, staying in manageable third downs, and then if Stockton runs, he's probably running with real estate. So that's why I would take a Stockton over the 34.5 as opposed to Chambliss, which has designed RPOs, and we know that front seven's going to look to take it away.
Pay dirt picks, Joe. Who's going to find the end zone in this game? If we're looking at a total with a decent amount like we have between Mississippi and Georgia, somebody's got to get in. But also, Joe, there's three guys on this card that are heavily juiced. It's Lisi of Mississippi, minus 190. Bowens of Georgia, minus 175. And Stockton, how about this? A minus 160 price for a quarterback. Not to throw a touchdown, to run a touchdown in, Joe. And then plus money after that.
Yeah, so Stockton has scored in big games. Scored last week against Auburn, scored against Tennessee. So, again, in these top 10, top 15 matchups, he's shown a propensity to run the football inside the red zone. So, not a bad look. Bowens has been used over Nate Frazier, but again, Frazier's a little more athletic. I think in this type of game, I did take Nate Frazier to potentially go through his rushing total and hit pay dirt at plus 105. So Lisi, again, is basically a mainstay for the Ole Miss offense. If you think they're going to run the football and have opportunities, Lisi, even though he's minus money in this ballgame and a favorite, it's still potentially good to lay it, even in a parlay if you want to take it with somebody else.
Let's call it 57.5 is the total in this game. So somebody's going to have to score touchdowns. That's why you're finding some guys playing, minus money, paying juice, and a couple guys there, of course, that you would look at plus money. But if I looked at the quarterback situation, Joe, to throw 2 touchdown passes, and we just look at both of them. Gunnar Stockton to throw 2, it's plus 172. Chambliss to throw 2, it's plus 182. If I gave you the option of taking one of those 2 quarterbacks to throw 2 touchdowns in this game, who is it?
I would say it's Chambliss because we talk about the secondary being weak for Georgia. And we talk about what I believe Georgia's going to do. They're going to want to run. If they're running the football, that's going to be their bread and butter. For Ole Miss, they really need to dictate the tempo. That's through the passing attack. Last year, Jackson Dart basically had 199 yards in the first half against that secondary. So look for Lane Kiffin to play a wide-open offense and exploit that defense over the top. I'm not suggesting he's going to do it, but that is the game plan, so I would lean to Chambliss.
There you go. A lot of fun in the SEC today, a lot of big football games, and none may be bigger than the next game we're going to talk about. Tennessee and Alabama, people, next.
at some point this year, next year, states are going to ask for Kalshi to be taxed. And I think they're going to have to pay taxes if they continue to operate in this space. Specifically, the state of Pennsylvania is looking and saying, hey, our sports books are paying us tax money every month to do the same thing you guys are doing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I apologize to our fans. We need to do better. That's all you need to say, Scott, right? But Tua goes out there, my kids love me, I'm rich, I don't care. You got your dumbass coach coming out here, and we play to win. You got to win the game, and you got to win. And, like, dude, like, the Dolphins press conferences make it way worse. Like, if I was a Dolphin fan, I just want to punch these guys in the face.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
This one's for you, Tommy Reynolds. I know you're a Rochester Americans guy, but the big team, the Buffalo Sabres, at home against the listless Rangers. Can we get plus 102? We can in overtime. Knockaroo does it again. Buffalo over the Rangers.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
It's a Saturday. We talk college football. It's what we do on the SportsGrid Network. It's Donnie Rightside, and it's Joe Lisi, and we're keeping it in the SEC. A 7:30 game tonight from Alabama, Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's going to be the rivalry of the Tennessee Volunteers and the Alabama Crimson Tide. The line, Joe, opened up at 8.5. We're getting close to double digits. It sits at just about every outlet right now at minus 9.5 in a total, Joe. 59.5. Could we see 60 as a total in this game? SEC dominance on display tonight.
Yeah, I think we can see 60 just because of the style of this game. We know how Tennessee wants to run tempo with the rushing attack. They're throwing for well over 250 yards per game with Joey Aguilar, also rushing for well over 200 yards on the ground with Bishop and Star Thomas. They're running backs that have combined for over 750 rush yards and 9 rushing touchdowns. That is the key, in my opinion, for Tennessee to win this game later tonight. I do feel the tempo could get to Alabama. We talk about Alabama's dominance at home, right? Since 2020, 35-1 straight up. Their only loss came to Steve Sarkisian in Texas with Quinn Ewers about 4 years ago. Tennessee's got to bring their A game. They've won 2 of the last 3, but Alabama's been dominant, but it's still not the same Alabama defense that we saw. They're giving up 157 rushing yards per game. You can go back year to year to year. One of the worst front sevens over the past decade or so with Nick Saban. I'm going to take the points with Tennessee. I think they are in a position to potentially pull this game out in the fourth quarter.
Interesting. If we look at the quarterback position here, talking about some prop bets here, Joey Aguilar, 228.5, which is kind of standard for college football. Then you see Ty Simpson in this game, 292.5 is his prop, Joe. He's the leader in the clubhouse, or a tie, I should say, for the Heisman Trophy race. Tell you something. They win this football game. Ty Simpson goes for 3 bills and 3 scores. He might be your Heisman Trophy. And again, they're going to have a Heisman Trophy. They fire everybody if that loss to Florida State. Boy, did that offense turn it around tonight, Joe. Talking about Ty Simpson.
So we talked earlier when we broke the game down that the weakness of Tennessee is the secondary. They're allowing 66% completion percentage. They're allowing 258 passing yards per game. So if you're going to attack Alabama, right, you're going to attack over the top with your best bet with Ty Simpson. He's had a 3-game heater right now, which puts him in a position to potentially hoist the hardware. 70% completion percentage, 16 touchdowns, 1 interception. But you look at just Tennessee right now, they're going to have to create third-down situations to get off the field. That might not happen. This game might be last team holding the football wins. I will say from an Alabama perspective, Donnie, you got to get Ryan Williams involved. I don't understand what happened last week. No catches. He basically wasn't involved, and I understand that Missouri took it away at some point. But Ty Simpson didn't go to him at all last week. It's like he was out of the offensive game plan completely. Needs to change. Can't just be Jeremy Bernard. They need a big play from Ryan Williams. Again, I think Ty Simpson's on potential for 3.25, 350 in this game. We'll see how the Tennessee defense adjusts.
Yeah, that kid, I mean, last year when you take a look and say, boy, what was Ryan Williams doing? I mean, absolutely dominant. You figured he'd take that next step like Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State. Hey, get him involved. Like,
one catch, a bubble screen?
Can't have that.
Nothing.
Can't have that.
Checked out last week.
Yeah. If we look at the props, though, Joe, Bernard is 69.5. Horton is 49.5. And then there's Ryan Williams at 55.5. They're not pricing him like he's dead weight here at like 28.5.
No.
He's still listed at 55.5. Talk to me about the expectations of the wide receiver position, because if we have a quarterback that's anticipated to throw for $3 bills, somebody's catching passes.
Yeah, so Horton came up, if you watch the game against Missouri, had the big fourth down conversion. It was 4th and 3 with about 8 minutes left in the game, and he hits Horton on an absolute frozen rope. I mean, great catch. He loses his helmet. He could be the option again today. Again, I still like Bernard. Bernard is the guy that when Ty Simpson is in a rhythm, Jeremy Bernard is eating. I like him for over his total. I like him for a touchdown tonight from the Alabama perspective. But keep an eye out for Horton. He's got that quarterback to wide receiver relationship. Even though you want to maybe double down with the Ryan Williams perspective, let's see what happens. I don't like the fact that he's completely checked out. I would take him over the yardage, not necessarily for the touchdown. Would lean to potentially Horton to have a big day as well.
How about this, Joe? Let's take a look at the rushing props.
Love
Cam Millers, you talked about maybe a little bit banged up coming into this game. Concussion issues could be an issue. I don't say concussion issues. Is he going to get a full ground game today? He's 70.5. There's not really any discounts there.
Right.
Sean Bishop, 66.5. Are we trusting Jam Miller today to be playing and productive?
Donnie, he got laid out on the sideline. I mean, he was completely out on his feet in the fourth quarter of that matchup. They took him back to the dressing room, and he's been basically in concussion protocol. They say he's probable, but again, how many times we watch these games play out with the college game where you bet the guy, he's out there for 2 plays, he gets dinged again, and then all of a sudden there goes the 70.5. Right. You're dead to rights. So again, I would advise a no play as opposed to just saying he's going to, be in the lineup and you're going to get 70.5. I don't lean to Bishop as much. I did take Star Thomas to change it. Pace back 37.5 because, again, if Tennessee's going to come into this game and say, hey, we want to attack Alabama on the ground, it's not just Bishop. It is Star Thomas, a little bit quicker, a little bit more elusive. 37.5 is a huge discount. If you believe Tennessee's going to get close to their average, I like Thomas more. I'm in on Thomas in multiple parlays over the 37 and a hook.
Yeah, good weather conditions tonight for this game too, Joe. If we take a look at the pay dirt picks, here's some touchdown props in this game between Tennessee and Alabama. Jam Miller's the favorite, though, still. We don't really know what we're going to get out of him. -165 price. Bernard, -140, who I really like today. And then there's Ryan Williams, third in line, Joe, at a +105 price. The first 3 guys on the board, Alabama, Alabama, Alabama.
Yeah, I can't look that way. I think it will be Tennessee potentially dictating the tempo, potentially, especially on the road. Star Thomas. Don't be shocked, though, if it's Aguilar as well. In big games, Aguilar has stepped up. He's mobile. He's a gutty guy. He's like Diego Pavia, just in the sense he's going to give it 150%. And I think when you just look at Tennessee, we talked about it earlier, haven't won in Tuscaloosa since 2003, 5 overtime game. It's been a long time, 22 years since Tennessee has been able to make it competitive. I still like them with the points, but I keep an eye out on Thomas. Keep an eye out for Joey Aguilar on the ground.
Yeah, big game for Kalen DeBoer here, and certainly his stance of, okay, we can still make the college football playoffs. You can probably make it with 2 losses in the SEC, but this isn't one you want to give up, particularly your favorite at home by roughly double digits. Quick question on this one, Joe. Ty Simpson, we talked about him trying to win a national championship and also a Heisman Trophy. You don't get any cheapies with him. He's over 2.5 every week on his touchdown prop, and he battles it too.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Last week he was under the radar. He went under his total, 200, but he goes for 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. As long as the touchdowns are there, you don't necessarily need the yards for Ty Simpson to hoist the hardware. I still think he potentially puts in 2 or 3 today.
Some other guys that you might think could win the Heisman. Could it be Nussmeier with a comeback of LSU or Diego Pavia of Vanderbilt? That game on deck. Let's hit those prop bets and much more right here on the Sports Grid.
At some point this year, next year, states are going to ask for Kalshi to be taxed. And I think they're going to have to pay taxes if they continue to operate in this space. Specifically, the state of Pennsylvania is looking and saying, hey, our sports books are paying us tax money every month to do the same thing you guys are doing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I apologize to our fans. We need to do better. That's all you need to say, Scott, right? But Tua goes out there, my kids love me. I'm rich. I don't care. You got your dumbass coach coming out here, and we play to win. You got to win the game, and you got to win. And, dude, the Dolphins press conferences make it way worse. If I was a Dolphin fan, I just want to punch these guys in the face.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
This one's for you, Tommy Reynolds. I know you're a Rochester Americans guy, but the big team, the Buffalo Sabres, at home against the listless Rangers. Can we get plus 102? We can in overtime. Knockaroo does it again. Buffalo over the Rangers.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Back on SportsGrid's College Football Today, Joe Lisi, Donnie, Rightside, breaking down all the top 25 battles. Left off talking about Alabama and Tennessee. The battle in Tuscaloosa, Donnie, turned to the 12 o'clock battle. Yeah. Nashville, Vanderbilt, favored. First time since 1948, baby. Do the Commodores have a shot? I don't think so.
Who's going to be their lead singer today for the Commodores? Is it going to be Lionel Richie or Diego Pavia? How about that little transition?
How many people know watching the Commodores?
Yeah, I know. Did they know Lionel Richie left the Commodores, but the Commodores still went on as well? Did they know that?
I thought it... was it? I thought wasn't Cool in the Gang part of the Commodores?
I think
Cool?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that. On the night shift, you had a couple of that stuff.
Brick house, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell you what, LSU could be a brick house today. They've won 10 straight in the series by an average margin of victory over the last 4 games by 23.2 points per game. They're deserving, Vanderbilt, of being favored due to the FPI, strength of schedule, you name it. The Commodores have the much better statistical offense heading into this matchup. Whitweeks is out, team cog for the LSU defense. But I'll say this. If Brian Kelly loses this game on the road in Nashville, he's going to be on the hot seat. He potentially could be like James Franklin in Penn State, because if this team does not at least get to the college football playoff, it's unbelievable what he's done. He's regressed every single year since winning the SEC West in year number 1 and knocking off Nick Saban. It's go big or go home. If you're LSU, you attack that secondary over the top. I took Nuss for 275, 300 plus. Aaron Anderson, my favorite wide receiver, comes back. He could scoot like Trindon Holiday. Give me LSU outright. Over Vanderbilt.
That's the handicap from the heart right there for Joe. He loves LSU. He's not going to turn a blind eye to know that Vanderbilt could be a better football team than LSU.
They could be.
Diego Pavia and the boys here sitting. We're going head-to-head. Joe got the CLV because right now, Joe, minus 1.5 in the sports betting landscape right now, and a total of 48.5. But understand this. Coming into the season, Joe, I didn't expect LSU to have struggles on offense. And I'm saying they're not a bad offense, but with Nussmeier coming back with all those weapons, I thought it'd be much more of like a well-oiled machine at this point. We haven't seen that. Is today the day they can get untracked against Vanderbilt? Because quite frankly, somebody's got to show up today on offense, and we were expecting it to be LSU all season. Hasn't been, though.
Well, 3 trips into the red zone last week, 2 interceptions, a fumble, and they come away with 3 points. Terrible. performance. They were able to get chunk plays in the rushing attack. They pounded the rock against South Carolina, $168 on the ground. Caden Durham had a big run. Caleb Jackson had a big run. They averaged 6 yards per carry, and they're going up against the front seven, only giving up 90 rushing yards per game and 3.2 yards per carry. In Vanderbilt, I think, again, it's the passing attack. The emergence of Aaron Anderson in that offense, Trey'Dez Green, the tight end, and Bauer Sharp are going to be critical to this offense. It's pass to run the football. If LSU comes in with the mentality, Donnie, we're going to run first, pass second, they're going to get abused in this game. They need to throw to open up the run later. Again, speed kills. LSU has it, baby. I think they roll.
So then we take a look at Garrett Nussmeier's passing prop in this game, Joe. 240.5. So is there a correlation that says Nussmeier better get over 240.5 if you want to win this football game?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And again, now, they did a pretty good job, Vanderbilt did, of containing chunk plays against Ty Simpson in Alabama when they were on the road, right? Reason why is because they jumped up first and had the lead. They could able to slow it down. If LSU has to dictate the tempo, Nussmeier, 253 last week, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, But again, if he cooks early, he blows through this number, 3.25, 350 plus potentially. They have to dictate through the passing attack. I will say this. We talk about the Heisman. I did book just as a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
And I know Nussmeier has been terrible up until this point. 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. But we talk about the body of work coming up.
Yeah.
He has now a 1-loss Vanderbilt team. Next week, if A&M knocks off Arkansas, undefeated, they're already 1.5-point home favorites against potentially the best team in the conference. He then follows that up again at the end of the year with Oklahoma, right? Or Alabama's also on that schedule. If you believe that LSU is going to make a move, Nussmeier at 60-1 has to perform. I booked it. I took a shot because, again, even if it goes down to 10-1, you're hoping to cash out.
Like a correlation for Joe would be Nussmeier passing over his passing prop, which means LSU's probably going to win that football game. For me, on my angle, who I think Vanderbilt's going to win this game, it's Diego Pavia.
Right.
It's not on his arm. It's on his legs, Joe. 56.5 is his listed passing prop in this game. I think you can go over that, but you take a look at the prop bets for me there. Diego Pavia's rushing yards, like that at a -114 price to go over, and then also the Vandy spread at a -2.5. Pay dirt picks, Joe, in this game. Durham, -115. Alexander, +110. Pavia, +130. You're getting some pretty good value on touchdown scores here.
Yeah, again, a lot of people on the under, 48.5 down to 47.5. I think it's a higher scoring game. If LSU wins, they have to push tempo. I like Aaron Anderson back in that offense. I believe he's +195, 2-1 almost to hit pay dirt.
How about this, Joe? We got about a half hour to kick off here and a lot more games to cover, a lot more prop bets. The biggest games, you know we got you covered. Joe and Donnie right on a Saturday morning.
At some point this year, next year, states are going to ask for Kalshi to be taxed. And I think they're going to have to pay taxes if they continue to operate in this space. Specifically, the state of Pennsylvania is looking and saying, hey, our sports books are paying us tax money every month to do the same thing you guys are doing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I apologize to our fans. We need to do better. That's all you need to say, Scott, right? But Tua goes out there, my kids love me. I'm rich. I don't care. You got your dumbass coach coming out here, and we play to win. You got to win the game, and you got to win. And, dude, the Dolphins press conferences make it way worse. If I was a Dolphin fan, I just want to punch these guys in the face.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
This one's for you, Tommy Reynolds. I know you're a Rochester Americans guy, but the big team, the Buffalo Sabres, at home against the listless Rangers. Can we get +102? We can in overtime. Knockaroo does it again. Buffalo over the Rangers.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Lisi. It's SportsGrid College Football today on a Saturday, under a half hour to kick off at the 12 o'clock hour. We got a lot of games to get to, so let's hit that gas pedal. It starts at 4 p.m. Eastern. It's Texas Tech and it's Arizona State. The favorite in this game opened up Texas Tech -5.5. It now sits on game day 6.5s and 7s, depending where you're shopping at. And the total, Joe, opened up at 53.5. Dropping just a bit to 51.5 and 50.5, depending where you're shopping at as well. Texas Tech, Arizona State. Injury issues in this game, Joe?
Yeah, so a couple of injuries. We don't know up until now, and I'm assuming that Sam Levitt potentially is a go. But on the flip side, for Texas Tech, it will be Will Hammond taking over for Baron Morton. Morton will be, I believe, the backup today, but Hammond's been admirable in critical spots, has really looked the part sophomore year and stepped up, especially against Utah in that road environment. I think when you look at this game, and this game last year was 44-41. Texas Tech won it. They shut down basically Arizona State in the fourth quarter, couldn't really get up. This is a much different defense for Texas Tech. I did take the 7.5. It was 9.5. I saw Donnie 11.5 Sunday night when this line came out because of the availability at that particular time with Jeff Sims getting abused by Utah and Sam Levitt. This comes down to 2 factors. Traditionally for me, Donnie, and people that know me know that I've been backing Joey McGuire in Texas Tech for the last 3 years. Love Joey, love the program. Traditionally in road spots, this team has never really stepped up. They got the road win against Utah, but you're going up against Dillingham. He's 9-0 Arizona State over the last 2 years. 3-0 this year, 6-0 last year. They play much better at home than they do on the road in the desert. I'm taking the 6.5, 7 points. Don't be shocked if it's a 4-quarter game.
See that there, what happens in that one. Arizona State, the home team, their little Dillingham action, need to win by a touchdown. Should be getting a touchdown price. We'll see how that one plays out here, Joe. Back from the dead. Who is that? That's the Texas Longhorns showing life. Little moxie from Arch Manning. He thinks he can win the Heisman Trophy again. Well, he's going to start today as almost a 2-touchdown favorite going up against Kentucky. The total, 43.5. Stoops, come on now, please.
Donnie, if Texas can't, I know it's after the rivalry. But if you can't beat Kentucky, in Kentucky, with a team that's dead to rights and a coach that potentially is on the outside looking in, might not even be on the sidelines in Lexington last year. You got a gift last week with Mateer giving you 3 interceptions. Was he 100%? Wasn't he? The one thing you could carry is your defense. Your defense is still above average. And Kentucky's offense is atrocious. They're on their backup quarterback. They're winless in the SEC. This is an opportunity to show out. If they can't cover a 12.5-point spread against a team that's dead and buried, I don't know what to say. Again, I would say Texas or bust for me. And again, that 43.5, you would think that if Arch gets going, they should blow through that total. But it's Texas or no bet for me.
It's funny, too. Like, you just see Texas in any game. And again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to, squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point. But if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah, come on.
Right? I mean, really. I mean, they got a gift last week. They were down 6-3. The offense was getting abused. He get the 3 interceptions. You win the game and you cover against your arch rival, the potential letdown. But this is a team that, just from they're handing out Lamborghinis for kids to go to school at Texas. You can't beat Kentucky. Come on.
Get the Hellcats out there and win a football game over there with Arch Manning. By the way, Arch, are we allowed to play as Arch Manning if we have his EA college football game? Did he sign up for it this year? Or is he too worried about it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Why? He didn't sign up for the EA?
Do you remember when every college kid gets a copy of this and $500 and he didn't sign it when everybody else did? So we'll see what happens with Arch today, but they better come up with a big victory here to sort of push back that feeding mob down there that wants to avalanche that team. How about this one, Joe? Baylor and TCU. Line opened up around 2.5 points. We now see across the board 3.5 and 3s in a total. Also on the rise, Joe. 63.5 the opening number. You see the graphic showing 65.5. There's other outlets out there right now, Joe. 66.5 points are expected between Baylor and TCU.
Yeah, this is one of my under-the-radar picks, but one of my better bets for the day. I've been on Baylor big picture over the 7.5 win total, and I'm on them to win the game outright. I think when you look at this game right now and you look at the teams that they have played, I've been very impressed with Baylor for that offense and Sawyer Robertson, not to take away from Hoover and TCU. I know potentially they're a good home team. They've covered ATS, I believe, 4-1 in the last 5. That's great. Yeah. But when we look at this team as a whole, I believe that Baylor has a much better offense, and I believe in Aranda. I think they're a little bit more physical. You talk about a team that's 3-3 right now, or 1-2, excuse me, in TCU at home. I think that's a cause of concern. The TCU has won 3 of the last 4, but Baylor won last year 37-34. I like Robertson. This team wins. Don't count them out potentially for a Big 12 championship. They had great value at 18-1 to start the year. Keep an eye out for Baylor in this matchup. I think they win it outright.
All right, let's get down to another interesting game here. We saw last week the high expectations of Oklahoma getting their starting quarterback didn't certainly work out in their favor, but now Oklahoma goes on the road to take on South Carolina, Joe. Open up as a 4.5-point favorite here. You see that placard up there at 5.5? We're actually dipping down now, Joe. Most outlets at 4s, 4.5s, and even some 3.5s. Starting to come through, and an ultra-low total of 42.5. Material in Oklahoma. Can't be anything worse than last week, or can it?
Well, here's the thing. This is a hot play. Everybody loves South Carolina just because you look at 2 factors, right? One, they abused Oklahoma and Michael Hawkins last year. They absolutely smacked them around by 20-plus points in Norman. That was an eye-opener. That's where they were trending at the end of the year, coming off the rivalry game, knowing that Mateer was at 10-1 to win a Heisman, throws 3 interceptions, and they lose by 17 points. I think people are saying, well, Oklahoma's just going to fall off a cliff. I'm not so sure in this matchup. Again, a public play dog-wise just because of how bad Venables has been against top-ranked competition. But again, let's look at the bigger picture. Oklahoma has the much better defense heading into this matchup. They were able to contain, I believe, mobile quarterbacks like Bryce Underwood. Yep. Granted, he's a mobile guy. Did you watch LSU abuse Lenora Sellers last week? He got hit a lot in that matchup. Pressure rate was about 74%. Yep. They put him down multiple times. Is he 100%? I'm not so sure. I'll take the better defense, and I still like Oklahoma's offense. Not only that, but when we look at a 3-3 football team, who did South Carolina beat? They beat Kentucky. Where's the quality win? I know they're playing at home, but at least Oklahoma stepped up. They beat a good defense in Auburn when Auburn was playing for something. They beat Michigan. There's quality wins for John Mateer in Oklahoma. I don't see one for South Carolina.
Beamer Ball has got to step up in a big way today. And Sellers, one of those guys a lot of people talked about, maybe a Heisman Trophy candidate to start the season, so certainly not working out in his favor. Maybe buyout money is the best way to explain this next game. Mississippi State on the road taking on Florida as a 10-point favorite. It's now a little bit below that, 9.5 at most outlets for the favorite for the Gators. A total, Joe, of 50 to 51.5, depending where you're shopping at. Florida, Billy Napier, it's only a matter of time.
I don't think it's this week. Well, here's the thing.
Saves it off?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think they win. I think they cover. I think they cover in a big way because if you've watched Mississippi State and Florida play throughout the years, talent-wise, they get abused. They got abused. Blake Shapen in this offense last year by the Gators. It was actually one of the better performances by Graham Mertz where he attacked them early. I think Ricky Pearsall 2 years ago had a huge performance against Miss State. But Florida owns Mississippi State, playing in the swamp. I understand the spread seems high, but Florida's a much better home team than they are on the road, and that defense is still legit. I would only lay it with DJ Lagway and the Gators. Can't buy in to Blake Shapen and the Bulldogs on the road.
Number 1 team in the country, Joe, we'll take a look at here. It's Ohio State taking on Wisconsin. The favorite, it's Ohio State. How much? It's minus 25.5. The total of this game, 41.
Donnie.
What's going on here?
Donnie, they got smacked around 37-0 by Iowa. I mean, they were supposed to be up for that game because of the year. The spread is down from 27.5. I can't buy into Wisconsin in any capacity. What I can buy into, can Ohio State get the 41.5 on their own? They were able to put up a basically 42 spot and get over the total against Minnesota.
Yeah.
I can't take the spread. I would only look Ohio State, but I think the over 41.5 is appealing.
Let's go back to the Ron Dane days, man. Can the football
Money
off
ball?
Wisconsin. Yeah, stay close to the vest.
P.J. Hill?
Unbelievable stuff. We'll be right back. More college football on the way.
At some point this year, next year, states are going to ask for Kalshi to be taxed. And I think they're going to have to pay taxes if they continue to operate in this space. Specifically, the state of Pennsylvania is looking and saying, hey, our sports books are paying us tax money every month to do the same thing you guys are doing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I apologize to our fans. We need to do better. That's all you need to say, Scott, right? But Tua goes out there, my kids love me, I'm rich, I don't care. You got your dumbass coach coming out here, and we play to win. You got to win the game, and you got to win. And, dude, the Dolphins press conferences make it way worse. If I was a Dolphin fan, I just want to punch these guys in the face.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
This one's for you, Tommy Reynolds. I know you're a Rochester Americans guy, but the big team, the Buffalo Sabres, at home against the listless Rangers. Can we get plus 102? We can in overtime. Knockaroo does it again. Buffalo over the Rangers.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all three Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Michigan. How about this? A Big Ten battle today in Michigan in the Big House. That's going to be Washington versus Michigan. Getting my Big Ten teams confused here, Joe. Look at the preview of the early line in this one. It was minus 10.5, Joe. Yeah. We're down to 4 and 4.5 in a total 51.5. Nobody believing in Michigan because why? Maybe a key injury today for the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, I mean, just Michigan, and not only that, getting abused the way they did against USC. I think the way they lost against, what we consider a finesse type of team in USC, the way they were able to push around the offense and defensive lines of the Wolverines, I think that's why you're seeing some buyback potentially, because this line was 7.5 at the start of the week on Sunday. We're seeing 5.5. Yeah. But let's look big picture. If we just look at this offense for Michigan, still similar to what we saw last year, they need to run the football effectively, and they need to work off of play action. And they're going up against one of the most explosive offenses in all of college football in Washington. Great conversion rate on third downs, over 50%. Yeah. Damon Williams, mobile. Yeah, you talk about Coleman, the running back for Washington, another pocket rocket. I mean, the guy's basically 5'9", 220 pounds, and just elusive. So, again, if this game plays out, Michigan's going to have to slow down the tempo. That I don't think they can get into a shootout. It's going to be tough. I lean to the Wolverines just because they're at home, and we saw how Washington struggled with Maryland on the road. But I don't love this game in any capacity. I would lean Wolverines. And, again, I would take a shot with the total. Last time Washington went to Ann Arbor, they got crushed in that matchup.
Yeah, coming from that Pacific Northwest all the way up to Michigan. We'll see if that makes a difference in a bounce-back spot here for the Michigan Wolverines. How about Indiana? A lot to celebrate here. Massive victories, massive head coaches, staying in town and getting paid a lot of money. 24.5 says Indiana as a favorite over Michigan State. That was the opening line, Joe. 27.5 is where we currently sit with Indiana in a total of 49.5. Signetti, does he celebrate by running it up today?
Well, he got what? 8 years, $93 million. It's guaranteed.
11 pops a year for that.
11.6 pops per year. You know, Jonathan Smith now is like, rumors are happening that he didn't know what he was getting into when he took the job from Oregon State. Yes, you did. Oregon State was a dead and buried program, and you went to Michigan State because you took the money and you thought being in the Big Ten you'd be able to elevate it, and you realize there's better teams and better coaches going up against you, and this team has no physicality. Look, traditionally, Michigan State, for when they were good with D'Antonio, would abuse Indiana. Now it's the other way around.
Yep.
I would still, though, Donnie, 4 touchdowns in a conference game? I mean, you're telling me Michigan State can't cover this line? I would take the point. I mean, again, not a game I'm betting. I'm going to watch it. I probably would bet it from an in-game perspective. We saw Childs in this offense not look the same that it did last year. No physicality on the offensive line, and Cignetti is the worst. He's bully ball. He's worse than Franklin was at Penn State. When he smells blood in the water, he'll go for 60.
Look, you got to reach out. We're going to run it, Joe. Made a little Cignetti appearance on that point here. Get him to tell you about.
We could probably get him on in the offseason.
Yeah, he's going to be angry. He's going to be surly this week. He's going to show everybody why he got that money. I think they might be able to run that score up today. We'll see if it figures out. Joe, other interesting information from games throughout the day. UConn Huskies taking on the Boston College boys. A -1.5 point favorite to -2.5 now as a favorite towards UConn when Boston College opened up as the favorite. Why is that, Joe?
So Boston College has lost 4 straight, and they were going with the freshman Dylan Lonergan, who hasn't been living up to Bill O'Brien's expectations. We saw last year Castellanos lose his job to Grayson James. Well, Bill O'Brien going back to Grayson James, that honestly, Donnie, I thought was the best quarterback of the group. Last year when they were catching 18.5 against undefeated SMU, he walked into Dallas and almost pulled out the victory. So, again, this is a UConn team 3-3 overall. I would still lay it with UConn. I still like UConn in the matchup, but I will say if you're backing BC in any capacity, points-wise or total-wise, I think Grayson James gives this team the best opportunity to win.
Flip it over back to the top here, and a lot of fun to be had today. Why? Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, in the pouring rain today, taking on USC as a double-digit favorite. The total now, 65.5. They're gone. We're actually below 60s now at 59.5. I'm interested to see where this game is by game time. Understand this, though. Notre Dame is not played on grass. It is turf. So when the rain comes down, it shouldn't be all that bad. But for me, it's like, hey, that usually brings the underdog team into the picture. But Notre Dame, if you ask them to just run the football and run it well, they can do that, Joe. How do you feel about Notre Dame possibly covering the double digits? Or for you, is it just going to be taking the points with SC and seeing what happens?
No, I mean, if I saw USC from a defensive perspective step up, maybe in recent years, but again, I know they did it against Michigan. This is a different animal with Notre Dame. You have 2 competent running backs with Jadarian Price, Jeremiah Love. You have a defensive mastermind in Marcus Freeman that has found ways to create turnovers against your quarterbacks in back-to-back years. We talk about the dominance for Notre Dame, 48 and 49 points in back-to-back wins. They've won 6 of the last 7 against USC. It seems like a lot, but Notre Dame is deserving to be favored. And again, this train is starting to roll. The defense is playing much better. I can only look Notre Dame here.
ND, rolling away you go. And by the way, Joe, some teams that we don't get a lot of respect for, right? It's like, okay, you hear the names, but you don't realize how high they are ranked. Texas Tech, top 10 team, Joe, ranked 7th in the country, taking on Arizona State on the road. 6-0 on the season, 3-0 in the Big 12. More than the boys on the road here?
No, I like the other side.
Wow.
It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. I believe Arizona State's live. We talk about the physical. I will say this. Football perspective, Morton and Will Hammond drop back passes. When you look at the game last week with Dampierre, he puts up $124 on the ground because of the RPO game. Throw that out the window. Arizona State still very good in run support, giving up $111 on the ground. I think Arizona State could shut down the run, force Hammond into long third downs. We talk about Dillingham 9-0 at home the last 2 years. I think they're live, just like Baylor as well. I think Baylor's live, too, on the road against TCU.
How about live? Is Auburn live today, Joe? That line stinks to high heaven going up against Missouri today, -1.5. I just feel like Auburn probably should be getting at least a field goal at home right now. Are we giving out, participation awards for coming close in games?
No.
Come on now.
But that defense is legit. I will say one of the best rush defenses in the SEC. Auburn holding opposing offenses 86 rushing yards per game, 2.5 yards per carry. But if you're Missouri, you're still playing for potentially a college football playoff appearance on the road. That's why I love the total, because I don't know if Auburn's going to bring their A game defensively.
Yeah.
You should be able to exploit it. 43.5 to me is light. I love the total on the Plains later
By
tonight.
the way, Joe, we didn't get to this game in the Rat Pack. Kent State, though, we told you, back them up last week.
We didn't bet those points. Hammered them.
Hammer time. This week, it looks like they're about to be the nail, and the hammer is going to be Toledo, 25, Joe.
Take
25.
Take the over.
Take the over, 48.5 at that point. Take the over on this show. It's almost over, but not yet. We'll be right back.
At some point this year, next year, states are going to ask for Kalshi to be taxed. And I think they're going to have to pay taxes if they continue to operate in this space. Specifically, the state of Pennsylvania is looking and saying, hey, our sports books are paying us tax money every month to do the same thing you guys are doing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I apologize to our fans. We need to do better. That's all you need to say, Scott, right? But Tua goes out there, my kids love me. I'm rich. I don't care. You got your dumbass coach coming out here, and we play to win. You got to win the game, and you got to win. And, the Dolphins press conferences make it way worse. If I was a Dolphin fan, I just want to punch these guys in the face.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
This one's for you, Tommy Reynolds. I know you're a Rochester Americans guy, but the big team, the Buffalo Sabres, at home against the listless Rangers. Can we get plus 102? We can in overtime. Knockaroo does it again. Buffalo over the Rangers.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all three Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Big games here, Joe. We are 5 minutes away from kickoff on a monster Saturday in college football. Week 8, as we sit here in the middle of the month of October. Wins and losses start to stack up, and losses start to stack up for the Miami Hurricanes yesterday, Joe. Didn't like to see that, though.
Yeah,
like to see
very upset, aren't you?
Yeah, just...
Are you still buying into them college football playoff?
Yes. Yeah. I think there's a chance that they can still get in the college football playoff, because I think the ACC is down. But then again...
Yeah.
You're not supposed to lose this.
I will say this. Now, one other thing that I just want to bring up for people.
Yep.
Chris Vizina, the backup quarterback for Clemson, going today, most likely over Cade Klubnik. 5.5-point home favorites over SMU.
Oh,
reason why I bring that up, you see the loss for Miami last night, right? Now they have one conference loss. Louisville, one conference loss. I'm not suggesting they're potentially getting in, but when I saw the loss, I did jump on a Clemson 60-1 ticket ACC because, again, if they...
Miami always helps Clemson out.
But wait, if they win today against SMU, they would need Duke to knock off G-Tech. Why?
Yeah.
Because Clemson then faces Duke in 2 weeks. They get the victory over SMU, who's undefeated. They get the victory over Duke. Now you have the head-to-head over both of those teams. It's still going to be an uphill battle, but they're not going to be 60-1 then if they get the victory today and G-Tech loses to the Duke Blue Devils. There are only 2 conference losses by Clemson. So it's something to think about if you're looking big picture. I don't think Clemson gets back into it, but if things do break their way and you have a wide-open conference, Tigers still could be live at 60-1.
You know what else has a big, wide-open conference? It's the SEC with monster football games all day today, which includes a 3:30 tilt down in Georgia with Ole Miss, the favorite, 7.5 right now, live to 7 points, depending where you're shopping at for the Georgia Bulldogs. Joe, Ole Miss in that total, 56 6.5. Chambliss under for me, 250.5. That's where I'm looking at this football game as a prop betting perspective. And I do think Georgia handles their business. Good price point at 6.5, Joe. Ole Miss, Georgia.
I got CLV. I got Georgia last night. I got them at 6.5 under the key number. I still think they win it by double digits. I think they're the better rushing attack. I'm not sold on Ole Miss's front seven coming into this matchup. True road environment for Trinidad Chambliss. And you're talking about a team in Georgia. I just think they're a little bit more physical in this matchup going up against Ole Miss. Keep an eye out for Nate Frazier and Zachariah Branch. I have them both to potentially get through their totals and hit pay dirt.
Great day of football, particularly in the SEC, Joe. 7:30 tonight, Alabama. That place is going to have a party tonight. Tennessee's in town, and a heavy favorite for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Close to double digits now at 9.5 at most places. And the total, Joe, the 52.5 look-ahead lines, that's up a full touchdown to close to 60 now. Tennessee and Alabama, man, good stuff.
Tempo. That's what Tennessee has to do. I think they're alive again. I know they haven't won in Bryant-Denny since 2003, but I think it's the rushing attack. Bishop, but keep an eye out for Starr Thomas. 37.5 to me is a cheap number. We talk about Alabama's front seven, not dominant in run support.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for that. But again, I see this total. I mean, I like Tennessee with the points, but it wouldn't shock me, Donnie, if Simpson goes off, Aguilar goes off, and both of these offense potentially come close to that matchup in 2003 where we had it combined. It was 51-43, 94 points. Wouldn't shock me.
Smoking cigars in the stands at, down there on Rocky Top. Be a little bit different at Bryant-Denny. But for me, give me Jeremy. Jeremy gets in the end zone today. And let me ask you a question again. Are we going to see, look at this young kid, 17 years old in college football last year, Ryan Williams, dominant? Like, you just don't lose your dominance.
No, but you got to feel I don't know about losing his way, but he was disinterested last week against Missouri. Maybe he wasn't part of the game plan, but in order for Alabama to win with the passing attack, going to need Bernard and Williams to step up. Horton stepped up in his absence last week. Think he could get through his number this week as well.
Also, football game, you know what happens? There as well. So there you go.
Yeah, and Brian Kelly could be sitting next to James Franklin in the stands, because if LSU loses this game, it will be their first loss to Vanderbilt in 10 years. They have dominated the series over the last 4 years, 23.2 margin of victory. Last year they won it by 7. They'll be on the outside looking in for a college football playoff, SEC championship. This is it would be terrible for LSU, especially for this team, what they built from a defensive perspective. The fan base would be devastated. They'd be calling for Brian Kelly to be ousted after this week.
Diego Pavia, that's the only need you need to know about this game. The better quarterback, Diego Pavia, not Nussmeier at this point. Vanderbilt's going to handle their business and win this game. And also, Pavia, Joe, he's in for 60-plus. Just don't get sacked. Don't get the 68 yards rushing and take 14 yards on a sack or something like that. Pavia's rushing numbers are where I want to go in this football game. And Vanderbilt. So we're going toe-to-toe, head-to-head, mano-a-mano. And you know what? That game starts in like a minute.
I know. Aaron Anderson's I love it. I can't wait. I'm going to be watching it and listening to it on the way home. But LSU better step up. It's one of my better bets of the day, so we'll see if they can do it. Arkansas, too. Keep an eye out for Arizona State, Arkansas, over Missouri, Auburn, too.
Week 8 turns into Week 9, turns into Week 10, and away we go on the SportsGrid Network. College football today, we do it each and every Saturday and have a blast doing it. We know you appreciate it as well. Donnie Rightside along with Joe Lisi. You know what? We'll see him next Saturday.
Yeah.
Bright and early, 10 a.m. See you.
You're looking at Joe Burrow being the guy that I was in on the beginning of the year. Clearly, that is no longer an option. So where are we looking on this board? And I keep landing on the same thing, which is, Baker Mayfield's been kind of the story this year. Think about this. He's plus 950 for MVP. They look like right now one of the, if not the most formidable team in the NFC.
Fantasy Sports Today. On SportsGrid.
Great quarterback, the best quarterback in football. But when you play a 60-minute game of football on national TV and the referees do not call a single penalty against you when you committed 13 penalties the week before in a nationally televised loss, I'm sorry, but the jig is up.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I apologize to our fans. We need to do better. That's all you need to say, Scott, right? But Tua goes out there, my kids love me. I'm rich. I don't care. You got your dumbass coach coming out here, and we play to win. You got to win the game, and you got to win. And, like, dude, like, the Dolphins press conferences make it way worse. Like, if I was a Dolphin fan, I just want to punch these guys in the face.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.